right? Like if you think that you're just going to be able to buddy up to every, we'll just say subordinate, and that could be a team leader or your child or your employees, whatever. We'll just use the term subordinate for the sake of argument right here. If you think you're just going to chum up and buddy up with those individuals, that's an unrealistic expectation. The realistic expectation is that you won't be able to chum up with them, that you won't be able to buddy up with them, that you're probably not going to get invited to the things. like, but you don't need that, right? Like you should be able to have an external source of power. I'm going to get into that in a minute here, but you should have some external source of the relationships and the information and the conversations and the camaraderie that you need. But if you're looking for that from your team, you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel let down, and you're actually going to undermine your ability to lead effectively. I say this quite often with my children. My job is not to be my children's friend. Now, I can be friendly. There's elements of being a friend that go into leading effectively, but you're not your subordinates' friends. You're not your daughter or your son's friend. You're not your employee's friend. Okay, you're their employer. You're their team leader. You're their father. And there's elements of that. There's elements of being friendly and kind and empathetic and understanding and just humane, just understanding their situation. But you're in an elevated position. Fatherhood is an elevated position. It's better. It's more significant. It's more meaningful than friend. So I'm never going to step off the pedestal of fatherhood and step down to this lower tier of friend. Why would I do that? I'm never going to step down from this tier of leading the Iron Council, which is our exclusive brotherhood. I'm never going to step down from leading this organization so that I can chum up with you guys and be buddies. And I'm very clear about that. And you should be very clear about that. And the people I lead are very clear about that. Now, there's some that I'm closer to than others because we've developed and built these relationships, and that's bound to happen. But I know where the boundaries are, and I know what my role and responsibility is. And so if you think that you're going to be buddy and chummy with everybody that you come in contact with, and that if people just, really like who you are, that you're going to be able to lead them effectively, that's a false sense of expectations. And you're not only are you going to let yourself down and be disappointed, you're going to let them down, and you're going to let the team know. So people need to understand the boundaries. You need to understand what the boundaries are, and your subordinates need to understand what the boundaries are. And when those boundaries get crossed or they get bumped up against, you're the one that needs to enforce those boundaries. Now, there's ways to do that tactfully. There's ways to do that are meaningful and significant, and people see that, yes, you care, although you may not be a friend to that individual, but that you're their employer, your father, or whatever role you're filling in. There's ways to do that tactfully, but you do have to uphold the boundaries. You have to. Because if you prove that you can be walked all over, or that a subordinate can treat you like a buddy, like every once in a while, my oldest son, because he's getting older now, he's getting close to his teenage years, and he thinks, he's trying to figure out where the line is and identify his independence and all of this stuff. And while I can certainly appreciate and understand that, occasionally I have to remind him that I'm not your buddy. You don't talk to me like I'm your friend. You remember who you're talking to. You're talking to your father, which is significantly more important than any relationship that you'll ever have with your buddy. So I'm not your buddy.